What's going on, everybody? It is time for part number 3. I'm just going to throw it up there. Cash told me I had to make sure I was perky, which, unlike my man boobs, I am perky. I will perk up.
God.
Cash had to use the restroom for part 3, which it would have been much more fitting if it was part 2 because, well, it was number 2. Anyways,
what if it was 1 and 2? That could be 3.
We're going to let some more people jump on and join. We've got our Rumble cooking as well. Quick reminders as we start the show and as we wait for people to jump on. If you want to, first off, thank you. I think we had a donation from Eric from Canada, Eric Ramans. He donated a lot of money. We're still trying to get that number up. The goal is, you can see it on there, it's 5,000. It's just a random goal that's based off of getting Cash set up where he's got a month and a half, 2 months worth of work, essentially, that he's able to get all of his equipment set up as well. As always, I'm going to throw this banner up there, the Awake Now Woke Store. And again, we're just going to get started once we see everybody is on, because today is talking about his experience getting transferred from, I believe, Oklahoma City, or from the first jail to the DC Gulag. That's what we're going to get into. So where's my Cash? So that's the Help Cash one on the bottom, which is what we'll have throughout the ticker. And I am, of course, wearing one of the shirts, the Cash is Back shirt. We have a couple of those. Those are not on a discount, but if you use anything, if you get those, that all goes to support Cash's business, working essentially when he gets out of the halfway house. 20% off of anything else with Cash at the checkout. That's why I'm wearing the Awake Now Woke Store hat, or the Awake Now Woke hat. So is Casey. Cash, go ahead.
I need that hat.
Oh, the hat's easy for me to send. The rest,
and the Streetlight Unity Movement hat.
We don't have one of those.
We don't have
make one. We got to get one.
That's a $500 investment to get the bare minimum. So we could talk about that at another time. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's look at some comments, and then we will get started. That's the only one that we don't do print to order. Everything else we just print. It prints and sends out. These you have to buy 24 of. Woo! Stephanie Kennedy, thank you very much. Love this. Do you remember Stephanie Cash?
Yes, I do. Yes,
the roller girl. I sent her the videos that popped up on January 6th of her going through the hotel lobby like a mad woman, and she had to be very clear. People thought she'd been drinking. That is just her normal. So that is awesome.
Fun, man. She was a good person to meet.
Okay, we're breaking these up into little bits, like 40-minute everything's, just to kind of get this out. We're going to try to get through the gulag on this one, the DC jail, when Cash went there. First off, I found this video, popped up the other day. This is one of the first videos. This is, where is this video from, Cash?
That is Porter County, Indiana.
So there's no audio to it. I don't know what happened to the audio, but it's out of my phone. I'm sure the FBI grabbed it and was like, no, we can't let him talking anymore. But that's how it actually is in my phone. Super weird. But anyways, we thought the whole time that you'd be gone that we would be able to video chat. That was our assumption. Turns out that was not true. You thought that as well. So that was why you didn't get to see your kids for a long period of time. Also, one note, and then I'm going to let Cash go. We totally forgot to mention I kept mentioning Erica. Cash helped, me working on everything, or Casey helped. When Cash went away, Nikki was a huge help to bring everything together. Totally forgot to mention Nikki on the last episode. That was my fault. So if you're watching, Nikki,
I need her number.
We all know everything that you did. So no, I'm not losing the mustache, Julie. You can piss off. All right.
You're supposed to perk up, Russo.
That was perking up. The mustache stays. Did Kelly pay you?
Did Kelly pay you?
All right, Cash. We're going from how the transfer from Oklahoma City to the DC Gulag go.
All right. Well, I will say I was nervous going into Cimarron. That's where they transferred me to from Oklahoma and to Oklahoma City. It was called Cimarron, and I was supposed to be in I guess the gang dropout, but they didn't. They put me in an active situation. And when I say active situation, that's where everybody is an active gang member. All right. So, I go in there, and right when I'm walking in, I kid you not, they're pulling out this brother, man, this Mexican brother. And he was Pumpkinhead, bro. They beat this man something vicious. I'm talking about his whole head was swollen, bleeding. puffed up, body was all bruised. I'm like, damn, and that had to happen quick. Like they had to be beating on him for a minute. So when I'm coming in and I see this, I'm like, oh man. And then one of my things was I'm not reverting back to a person that I had already changed from being. I'm not doing it. So right then and there, it's like, are you sure you don't want to revert back just a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Because it was just a messed up situation. So all these COs come in with riot gear and they got these pepper ball guns and they run into this unit and I'm like, dang, and I'm praying to God, like, don't let me go to this unit. And I didn't. But it was crazy because that wasn't even the bad unit. My unit was the bad unit. so I go into this unit and I come with a couple different guys because I was in MCC Chicago. And so when they moved me over to here, I come in with the guys that I came in with, a Muslim brother. His name was Bilal. Him and then another brother from Dallas that was locked up in Chicago as well. And he went to the same spot as me. So we were all three, friends. So that's who I hung out with and I talked to in there. But inside there, they had the tablets, the GTL tablets to where you can do the phone calls off of them. There weren't no video visits on those. But yeah. So when you go in there, you instantly realize that everything is divided by race. Even the tablets, like when the police would come with the tablets in the morning and they would hand them out, there would be a black line, a white line, and a Mexican line or a Latin line. And they had the natives. The natives also had a line because there was a couple natives in there, but they only got one tablet. Blacks had the most. Blacks, I hate it. Yeah, they had the most tablets because I guess we were the majority in there. So yeah, and to get a tablet, you had to be the first one up in line. So if you were on the top deck, like I was on the top tier, you weren't getting a tablet unless your homeboy got one for you and let you use it, that's how I ended up getting a tablet. They looked out. But yeah, so then I'm sitting there with Bilal, who, he's a different kind of guy. And we're standing there. This is my first day. This is my first day there. So we're standing there. I got my back against the wall because I'm like, I learned that. You got to keep your back against the wall. You never know what's going to pop off. So you got to be aware of your surroundings and nothing could come up behind you. So Bilal's standing there. He goes, look at this. And it's a white kid. He comes walking by. He got on these nice ass Jordans, bro. Really nice Jordans. Bilal goes, hey man, come here. So the dude comes up. He's like, yo, man, those is nice, bro. Those is nice. He's from New York. He goes, yo, man, hey, son, those is nice. Where you get those from? He's like, oh, man, I came in with them. He goes, yeah, what size are they? He goes, they're 9. And he goes, oh, yeah, man, let me see one. And the kid's like, okay. And he takes the shoe off and he gives it to him. Bilal looks at it and he looks at the number on it, of the size. He goes, oh, you lied to me. These is not 9s. These is 10.5s. This is mine. Let me see the other one. He takes this kid's shoes and puts them on. He goes, man, they look better on me than they do on you, man. Get the fuck out of here. I said, oh my God. And the kid just looked stunned. And he got 3, fit looking brothers right here. And I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad for the kid. I'm like, wow. I said, come on, bro. I said, you just took this kid's shoes, man. He's like, hey, man, listen, brother, somebody got to play jail. This is jail. Somebody got to play jail. And I'm like, yeah, I hear you, man. But shit, at least give him your shoes. You know what I'm saying? You're going to take his. He walked off barefoot. So I call him back. Hey, man, come back. The dude thinking he about to get his shoes back. Bilal goes, here, man, you can have these, bro. These are more for you anyway. Somebody else is going to take them if I didn't. At least you didn't get hit. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, it tripped me out. So I'm like, okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I'm like, this is prison. And then at that point, after that, the white dudes that were not a part of like a white gang did not come out their cells. They stayed in their cells the entire time that I was there. And I felt bad. So, anytime I could, I tried to help, look out, like, hey, man, you hungry? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I would give a little noodles or whatever I had. And here you go, bro. Just trying to be nice to him because I felt bad. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was the start and the remainder of that stay there. That's how it went. Like it was prison. I knew that I was in a different setting. This is not regular, So I just I hung out, man. I just stayed out the way. I watched a little TV and minded my business.
And we got to do we were video chat. That's the place we video chatted though, right?
No, this was the only one where I could call out. and they only give you so many phone calls because the line was so long. And Cimarron, I didn't get to use the video chat.
So Cimarron. So give me the order real quick. It was.
I went to Porter County. From Porter County, I went to MCC Chicago.
Where's Porter County?
In Indiana.
Got it.
That's where we were video chatting.
Okay.
After I left there, we didn't video chat.
We didn't video chat a single time.
No.
Okay. So how long were you in Porter County for?
A month. After sentencing, remember, they got me out of there.
Okay. And then you went to the other one, the Cimarron, right?
I went to MCC Chicago, which is the transfer center. And then from there, I went to Cimarron. Cimarron was where I got my first taste of prison. This is prison life in Cimarron.
And how long were you there for?
Cimarron, I was there for about a month.
And then you went to the DC jail.
And
that's where you and I communicated, I think via tablet. I think that's where the bulk of it, but no video chat. But this is where it gets interesting, because I know and I kept telling people when it was good and when it was bad. Like, there was a lot of times like, they're being treated like the worst, like the POWs. And I'm like, there's times they were, but then there's times they weren't. And a lot of the information that got out, like when I saw Newt Gingrich on Fox News, it was actually a message from Kash to me, to Julie Kelly, to then Newt Gingrich. So a lot of the stuff that people were presenting about what was going on in the DC Gulag was from a couple people in there, one of those being Kash. So go ahead and tell how did it start? And talk about all the people that were in there, and then we'll talk about some of the things that they did to you.
All right. Okay. So
wait. I forgot I want to bring this up real quick. There was a comment made before we get into it, because it was about DC. Freedom Express Media. This person spent many nights outside the DC Gulag streaming at the vigil. Would love to get in contact. Casey will facilitate that because he's a nerd genius. Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So when I go when they tell me that I'm going to DC from Cimarron, I'm like, DC? I'm like, why am I going to DC? I'm like, this is a misdemeanor case. It's not even a case yet. It's just a criminal complaint. They said, I don't know, man, but that's where you're going. So this had me really nervous, because Bilal, I tell him, Bilal has been all over. He's from New York, and he's been locked up in DC. And I tell him I'm going to New York. He goes, oh, man, son. Oh, man. I say, what? He said, you better get your blicky ready. I said, whoa, what you mean, bro? Why are you saying that? He goes, bro, where you going? I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, son. I'm like, you for real? He goes, man, right hand on law. I wouldn't wish that on nobody, son. That's how we talk. You know what I'm saying?
What is your blicky ready?
Get your knife ready.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, that made my heart beat a little faster, but you can't show that. So I'm just like, man, I ain't worried about it, bro. You know, I'm good. He goes, nah, you going to be all right, son. You from J6, you know what I'm saying, son? You going to be all right. You going to be all right. You carry yourself like a man. You going to be good. Men respect men, son. Remember that everywhere you go. Men respect men. I'm like, all right, cool. So when I go, we fly, we get on the chain, you know what I'm saying? And we're flying over there. I get off, and there's these three dudes dressed in white Tyvek suits that had cuffs on, so they're inmates. So they couldn't get on the plane because they only got one vaccination. At that time, they weren't letting you leave DC jail unless you got fully vaccinated. So if you had to be transferred to go to your prison so you could do better time, you couldn't do it because they like, nah, you ain't going nowhere unless you get this shot. You know what I'm saying? So there was that. So they had to turn back around and get on the bus with us and ride back, which was almost a 4-hour ride from Harrisburg. I believe it was Harrisburg, all the way back to DC. So I'm on the ride with these guys going to DC, and they're like, so where you from, Slim? I'm like, that's how they talk. There's a whole bunch of different ways, different lingos that I've learned, man. I can talk like a DC cat. You know, they say, hey, Slim, where you from, man? I say, oh, man, I'm from Northwest Indiana, the Chicagoland area. He goes, oh, yeah? What the hell you doing in DC, Slim? How you catch a case out here? I said, oh, man, I was a part of January 6th. They said, oh, Slim, get the fuck out. Get out of here, Slim. What was your black ass doing that, Slim? So then we start chopping it up, and I'm telling them my story and how it all went. And they go, man, Slim, you with the shit. You all right. We love you, Slim. You all right with us. You need something, Slim, you let us know. We got you, son. I said, yeah, man, how's it over here? He goes, oh, shit. The one dude in the back that was with us that didn't get on the plane, he goes, he's a real tall brother. He got dreads. And he goes, oh, man, you don't know you're going to the Hot Brick Hotel. I said, man, where you from? He said, Man, I'm from over towards England. You know what I'm saying? But I'm African. I said, oh yeah? He said, yeah. I said, so you think this place is bad? He goes, man, I live there. Let me tell you, it's the Heartbreak Hotel, man. You're going to the Heartbreak Hotel. I said, oh man, it's all bad. He said, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. I said, all right. So we get there. And when we get there, they throw us in the tank. And when we're in the tank, I see these three dudes start bucking because they bring us out to do the paperwork, the intake, and all that. So they're like, they start talking to the COs. The COs is damn near all African or American that are brothers. You know what I'm saying? So the brother, he's African. He goes, no, you're not going back to Southeast. You got to go to quarantine. And the dude looks at me and goes, man, fuck you, Slim. I ain't going to motherfucking quarantine, nigga. I'll beat your motherfucking ass right now, Slim. He starts going in. Like, he's talking shit. I'm like, God, where we at right now? You know, I'm seeing a whole different vibe. I didn't see nobody talking crazy to the police like this before. I see these dudes being disrespectful, calling them a bitch, telling them to go back to Africa, all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? So the female comes, a sergeant, and she's from DC. She go, what the fuck y'all got going on over here? And they go, oh, I'm sorry, Miss So-and-so. Look, this is what's going on. He wants us, they calm down real quick. She goes, listen, y'all got to go back to quarantine, and you're going in this cell. You're going in the cell right now. I'm going to cash your ass. I got the hot sauce. And she starts shaking the can. I'm like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, by the way, my whole ride over there, I'm with two other J6s. I'm with Ronnie Sandlin, and Kelly Meggs. Me and Kelly Meggs hit it off on the way over there. We're talking. You got Ronnie in the front seat. He's freaking out because we were kind of bidding on him a little bit, you know, because he's scared. He's like terrified.
I would have been too.
No, but he was super. I'm talking about he started crying in the front seat. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy. So,
but you at least have a gang background, so it's like you can blend in. These are just Jan Sixers.
He's not. Ronnie's white collar.
Exactly.
Kelly Meggs handled it like a champ. Kelly Meggs was like, nah, we're gonna be all right. I'm not worried about it. We're gonna be all right. I love
Casey,
Kelly
did you
Meggs.
notice how he changed his voice from the other ones? Kelly's like, nah, we're gonna be all right. He did the black doing a white voice.
Me and Kelly, we got real close, bro. Kelly, he's a fun dude, man. That's the dude that was in the Oath Keepers that they gave 14 years to. They tried to say is a white supremacist, who's not a white supremacist. Love to do the death. That's my dog. From day one, me and him hit it off. But anyway, yeah, so they end up going in their cells. We end up getting taken. And they walk us through this place. And they brought them other dudes a separate way. They brought us over to the CTF side, which there's two sides to the jail, the CDF and the CTF, this central treatment facility or whatever. And then the other side is the detention. So it was a little better on the side that we were going to as far as treatment and what you can order on commissary is supposed to be. So when we
are we in New York or are we in DC yet?
We're in DC.
Okay, we're gotten down to DC.
Yeah, so we go in there and you could feel the vibe from the COs that was walking us, because these are all I'm the only brother that's here. You know what I'm saying? So they move us into this pod, C2A. This is before we go to C2B. We're in C2A on quarantine, and I go in here and my mind's already going because I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to be around a whole bunch of white supremacists, because prior to this, I was watching the news and they're all telling me about all these white supremacist groups that I didn't know about. I didn't know nothing about the Oath Keepers prior to January 6th and prior to this situation until the news. So when I get in there, I'm like, shit. And I didn't know Kelly was a part of the Oath Keepers at this time. We'd already hit it off. And they put us in and we're locked in. They locked the door and that was it. We were stuck in there. You only get out for an hour a day. And in that hour, you get to use the phone and take a shower. You got to do all that. Heat your food up, take a shower, and use the phone. So you could probably make one phone call because you got to wait, you know, for everybody else to be able to use it. They only let out 4 people at a time. So I hurry up and try to do these things, make my phone call, take a shower, and you could feel the vibe from the staff. They just hated everybody that was in these pods because it was known as the insurrection pod. That's what they called our pods. It was the insurrection pod. So so we stayed there for about 2 weeks in this pod, and we're all talking through the doors, people coming around, you know, just checking on, hey, you good, bro? You all right? The orderlies that they had out. And I'm like, yeah, we're good. So then the dude next door, Capital Doobie Smoker, he was next door to me. So I ended up giving him a bunch of commissary and trying to look out because I didn't know if he had everything when he came in. And me and him hit it off. So I'm getting to know everybody. But I noticed the race thing because the COs would drop the tablet off at my door every morning. There was only a couple tablets, and we're supposed to share them. But I got a tablet every day because of the color of my skin.
Because you have
So
hairy arms. Got it.
yeah, that too. So yeah, they start talking to me, and the officers were coming that weren't even working the unit to come to my cell to be like, yo, man, what the fuck was you doing there? And they were just talking to me regular, and I turned on my swag and I'm talking to them regular. And they're like, Joe, you shouldn't even be here. You know what I'm saying? Well, they didn't say, that's my lingo. They say Slim. They say, Slim, you wasn't even supposed to be there, man. What the fuck was you doing there? I say, look, man, it wasn't what you guys think. It was a lot of people that looked like me there. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't put it on the news. They say, yeah, well, we saw you on the news. We know exactly who you are. So I'm like, well, then you know what I'm about. And they say, yeah, man, but it just don't make no sense. You here with all these crackers and saying all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, look, I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? And I was educating as much as I could without, ruffling no feathers with them because I already seen how they felt about them guys. So 2 weeks later, they move us over to C2B. Now, when we get to C2B, it's a bigger unit. And there's a lot more people in there. And I see people looking behind the doors. And in my mind, the bias is kicking in. And I'm like, okay, he's got to be a white supremacist. Yep, he's probably a white supremacist. Yep, he's got the Thunderbolt tattoos. He's a white supremacist. And I'm seeing this. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, here we are. This is it. Baby Seal in the great white tank. You know what I'm saying? I'm bleeding a little bit. So we in there and they end up making me an orderly. So I get to come out my cell every day and help clean up the unit. So I would mop and I would have a chance. At this time, I'm like, I'm just going to be Cash. I'm not, fuck what I think about these people. I'm going to be me. So when every door that I go by, I'm like, how you doing, man? You all right? You holding up? And they're like, yeah, man, I'm good. And I would have these full-blown conversations with dudes at the door while I'm sweeping and mopping. And I didn't ask them what they were, if they was this, if they was that. I just treated them like people. You know what I'm saying? Like brothers that are in the same situation as me. So as I'm doing this, people recognize me. And they're like, hey, wait a minute, are you Cash Kelly? And I'm like, yeah, I'm Cash Kelly. They goes, oh my God, bro, I love your videos, man. And they start just like getting happy to see me there. And they were just yelling. At this time, this is how we communicate through the doors. They're like, yo, Cash Kelly, the street lights here with us, y'all. This dude is amazing. He used to go, I seen him at a rally. And it was just, the whole vibe changed. So now all these people want to talk to me. Other dude was like, yo, man, my wife loves your stuff. I seen your stuff on Facebook. And, my wife used to share videos. So then at this time, it's not.
Can I just guess? His wife is a between 40 to 65-year-old conservative white woman.
No, you're wrong. She was in her 30s.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's a little younger than your typical demographic, Cash.
I think that you're just a big time hater, but we'll say that story another time. Yeah, no, man, but it turned into this thing of positivity. So I'm talking with everybody, even the people that the officers that are coming through. The sergeants would stop by my door and just talk to me. Hey, man, how you doing, Kelly? I'm like, oh, man, I'm doing all right. I can't complain, man. God is good. I used to sit in there and just read my Bible. I would read my Quran. I would read my Circle 7. I would read the Buddhist stuff. I would read the books that people got me. I was reading like world history, everything. I was just sitting there and read when I wasn't out myself. So then it got to a point where they were giving us 2 hours a day out the cell. And at this time, they bring in more people. So when they bring in these more people, and the restrictions start to get a little lighter, I start speaking on behalf of the people because I see the treatment that's being done to them. I'm seeing the way that they're talking to people. And when we do these drills, they were calling people, puss ass crackers and all this. So then I'm like, yo, why you talking like that to these dudes, bro? I'm like, that ain't who they are. I'm like, who you're listening to on the news, that's not who these people are. I know these people. I live with them. They're not racist. You know what I'm saying? And then they were, oh, well, that dude got Thunderbolts tattooed on him. I say, yeah, because if you know anything about the system, he had a history. He had to go through prison. And when you go through prison, especially in Texas, you have to join a gang. Did you know that now he's not that he is a minister, that he turned his life over to God, that he ain't got nothing to do with that organization, and most of his friends are all black? He go, get the hell out of here. And he showed pictures. You know what I'm saying? And it started to switch up, So then I start fighting for, remember when I had you guys call because of the air conditioning? And there was like thousands of people, like the COs had to come to my cell and be like, yo, I don't know what you did, but can you please put out an announcement and let them know that we got the air conditioning turned on? They don't have to call up here anymore.
That's right. Like, yeah, there was hundreds of people calling. I don't know if we were calling some
thousands.
number. Yeah.
They had to cut the phones off thousands of people were calling. This came from the higher up. The captain came in and told me this. Yeah, they have a conversation with me. So then we started fighting for more rec time, because they were only giving us partial rec while the whole rest of the jail was getting full rec. They were getting full 5 hours of rec. So yeah, man, it was interesting. So then now at this point, when we are able to be out of our cells, we are getting to know each other, and we start eating together. We have like Sunday dinners. We all throwing in food, and everybody's getting so much commissary from the people. And prior, by the way, you remember when I started the Adopt a Patriot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I started that because there was people that weren't getting anything. So we started to do the Adopt a Patriot, and people started sending in packages. Well, then you had some people in there that were just egotistical, whom I love as brothers, but I fucking despise their character. I don't like who they are. I'm not going to put their names out because I don't want to smear nobody. But there were some people in there that I just did not like, but I treated them like a brother still. I still ate with them. I still talked to them. I just didn't like to deal with them. And they started wanting to put this glory on themselves, like, oh, I did this. Whenever I did something, I didn't go out there and tell people, oh, yeah, that was for me, for my following. No, it's not about that. It's about we got to make it through the situation. So that's how I left it. So then when packages start coming in, these other people started trying to take, glory and be like, oh, yeah, that was because I did this, and that. And I would just let it be. I didn't care. And then somebody else spoke on my behalf. And they're like, nah, bro, Kash did this, and that. And I said, Kash didn't do nothing except talk to his following, and people are being good people and doing this for you guys. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything. I'm here with you. I can't do nothing except put a word out. But these other guys, they wanted all the glory, and they're just doing so much, and they're, and I said, y'all have that. The more people helping, the better. That's how I looked at it. It's not a competition for me. My only competition is with myself. My only competition is to see if I can do more good. That's my competition. But these guys just wanted they wanted notoriety. So anyway, that became a whole nother situation. We had it was crazy.
So is this after when things were really bad, where they were, you guys were on 24-hour lockdowns? This is already past that point, correct?
This part was when we were on like 2 hours out of our cell a day.
So how long did it go for when you guys truly were being treated like garbage, where you guys could not get out of your cell for days on end, not showering?
We didn't get out of our cells, I believe, until June.
So that would be March, April, May, June. So for 4 months, you guys were on complete and utter whole lockdown.
1 to 2 hours out of our cell, maybe. And then we never really got to go outside. In that time, I only went outside once.
And you didn't get a haircut for how long? A year?
Yeah, it was about a year. My beard was like this.
What was their reasoning for all of the lockdown?
COVID.
Okay.
But it was BS because they let the other jail out. The other side, every other unit, they got to come out. We were the only ones. It was political persecution.
Which the other side had some real rough, shitty ass criminals.
Over there were getting stabbed. The COs was coming over here telling us to shut the fuck up and showing us videos and pictures of dudes that had got stabbed. One dude got stabbed so bad that he died on the floor with a big gash in his neck from here to here. And they're showing us this. And they're like, they would threaten us. Oh, if y'all don't chill the fuck out, we're going to send you over there with the real Black Lives Matter. We're going to send you over there with the real killers. And I started getting angry, and the street light went away, and I'm like, man, fuck you. You ain't going to do shit. And I started going in. Like I started to get a little
testy,
real testy.
How difficult was it for a lot of these guys? Like, what was the typical guy in there that was, I mean, these are like, and there's a lot of women putting their age in I'm making a joke because Kelly and I laugh about the fact that for the highest demographic for Kash is the 40 to 65-year-old. It goes outside of it, but those conservative white women love Kash. They always have. It's just a fact. But the question I have actually is legit. Like, a lot of these guys had never broken a law in their life. What was the age range of people in there with you? What was a lot of their backgrounds? Like, had any of them even spent time in jail?
Some people had, but the age group was, I would say, mid-20s to late 50s. And then we had Lonnie Kaufman, whom I love to death, man. Lonnie Kaufman, they called him the napalm guy. You know what I'm saying? He was like in his 70s.
and they were in there for months on end, if not years.
I feel real bad for Lonnie. That's what made me start going hard speaking out, because what was happening with Lonnie. Once
you got muted, you're good. Let's see if it comes back. Come in and out.
I had a phone call coming in. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little gravelly. Hold on. Try it again. You might have to go in and out. Let him go in and out for a second.
Yeah, one of the things I didn't want us to move on too far about is talking about how much of the lockdown was tied to COVID. Like, they kept using that excuse, I felt like, over and over and over.
But it's not, there is no excuse if the other side was open.
Right. Well, it's an excuse that they're using to enforce and take away rights,
right,
and to restrict somebody.
Right.
And when he started talking about it, I had those things start coming back into my mind. I was like, oh yeah, it was horrible on trying to get even getting him books at times.
They would take weeks, if not months to get books. If anybody's wondering, Kash, he has to leave his phone on. We shut it off the other night. He has to leave his phone on because if his parole officer calls, he just has to have it. Is it parole officer, probation officer, pro? I don't know, whatever. Probation officer. They has to call. So, anyways, he should be right back. There he is, right there. So,
yep,
coming in.
My apologies. I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb.
Well, I told everybody that technically you have to be able to accept phone calls during it, so it's no big deal. Real quick though, like let's reiterate this point real quick because Casey brought it up. That they're using the excuse for COVID, which okay, but you said the other side of the prison is open, so is it just pretty much a way to torture the day sixers?
Yes.
And then what you were finishing up with Lonnie. Lonnie was in his 70s. That's when you started to feel bad. Go ahead.
No, that's when we started to speak up, all of us. And I can say this, man, God bless me, because I had the ear of a lot of the staff there. They liked me. Some of them didn't like me because of what I did and how I spoke up for these guys. But a lot of the staff did end up liking me, and I built good relationships with them, good rapport. So when we started to be able to come out, say when they were letting one tier out and one tier not out. So they would only let out a few people, but got it to where they would leave Lonnie's door open because it was hot. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, man, he's old, man. I'm like, just look out for him. You feel me? So some staff would leave Lonnie's door unlocked all day so he could come out when he wanted to. He can go and, just freely move and not have to just be stuck in the cell. So there was that.
How many people are still, do you know how many people are still in the DC jail? So Kathy just said 38 are still.
They're still arresting people. There's only about 5 of the original that I was there with that are still there right now.
So apparently Kathy just said, DC, there's no heat, warm water. They got an extra blanket the other night and that was it. So they're still treating these people like shit 3+ years later, by the way. Mm-hmm. And Bonnie mentioned a comment. Go ahead.
Well, I'll say this. I'm in contact with some of the brothers, and the treatment has gotten way better.
Yes, and I tried to say that for a while.
Yeah, it's gotten way better according to someone that I trust that's inside of there. All right. Now you're gonna have people, and this happened while we were in there as well. You had some people that had ulterior motives as to why they were saying there was bad treatment, things that weren't happening. They were saying things that were not true. You know what I'm saying? Our treatment was bad. Don't get it messed up. But some of the things that they were saying was not true. You know what I'm saying? And Scott can attest to that. Like, there was the things that were wrong. Matter of fact, I think Scott snapped one day and would tell, like, Scott, man, he's the real one, bro. He snapped and was like, why the fuck are you guys saying things that aren't true when we already got enough bad? You don't need to add to the bad. It's already bad. You don't gotta lie. It makes it seem like you're a piece of shit. And this, like, he started. That dude,
which one, Scott? Who's Scott?
Scott Fairlamb, the boxer.
Oh, Fairlamb. Scott. Okay, got it.
Yeah, man, Scott was a real one. But yeah, it was bad. Don't get it twisted. There was a lot of real fucked up times, like when they ran in Scott's cell. They ran down on Scott, made sure that there was no cameras on, and came in at 12 o'clock at night, opened his cell door, and was about to jump him and was begging him to do something. And I'm at my cell, I'm yelling, you know what I'm saying, through my door, like, yo, Scott, don't fall for the trick, bro. Don't fall for the trick. We're going to get their ass, you know what I'm saying? And everybody we were out, we had eyes on them. But that was another instance. Another instance was when the CO was harassing me, that was always talking shit about his own staff members, talking shit about the guys that were in there. And he ended up telling me a lot of, opening his mouth about a lot of shit. And so one day he comes in and he didn't like Sergeant Proctor. Sergeant Proctor's a good dude. Love that dude to death, man. I respect him. But he was working on unit, Sergeant Proctor. So this guy comes in and he tells me, it's hot, mind you, it's really hot in there. And I'm wearing my shorts and a shirt, which we're allowed to wear. We don't have to be in our full orange, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So he's telling me I need to get fully dressed. I say, man, I ain't got to get fully dressed, bro. You're not even working this unit. You can't tell me what the fuck I need to wear. So he's like, oh no, I'm telling you, you need to put your oranges on or I'm gonna lock you in your cell. So I fucking snap because now you're harassing me. So I go off. I'm like, you bitch ass nigga, you ain't gonna do shit. How about you turn your fucking camera on? I say, instead of you standing here, when you have an interaction with me, you need to have the camera on. I say, turn your fucking camera on. So his camera comes on. So then I just start spilling the beans. I say, now that your camera's on, why don't you say the real shit that you be talking about your staff members, or how they begged you to come back after they fired you, and that these people is corrupt, and this person did this. And I'm putting all the business out that he told me about his own officers. And I'm telling him how he always harassing the staff, the people inside of here, the inmates. So then he hurries up, starts fumbling, trying to turn his camera off. So when he turns his camera off, he tells me to go back to my cell. I'm like, nigga, fuck you. I ain't got to do shit. So Sergeant Proctor's like, just go back to your cell, Cash. Just go back to your cell. So I go back to my cell. And I stay in my cell. So the next day, I chill for the rest of the day. The next day, he's calling up there. They let me out my cell. He's called because I'm on detail. I'm the person that's the orderly. So I come out and I start doing my what I do. He calls up there. His day off. Hey, is Kelly out of his cell? And it's another real cool officer that was there that I built a rapport with. He goes, yeah, he's out of his cell. Why? He goes, put him back in his cell. He goes, why? He hasn't done nothing. He was like, because put him back in his cell. He's no longer on detail. Mind you, this is a member of the ERT team. So I go over there.
What does ERT stand for?
He's like the SWAT basically. So I go over there to him, to the officer, and he goes, yo, why is he saying to get in this? I say, man, fuck that dude. He over here, he's harassing me on his fucking day off, bro. I say, he ain't got no business telling me what I need to be doing. I said, I want to talk to a sergeant. I want to talk to a captain, anybody, because this is some bullshit. He goes, all right, I got you. Don't trip. So he didn't make me go back to my cell. The sergeant comes down. 3 sergeants come down. And a captain. Both captains come down. And I tell them that this dude has been harassing me. And matter of fact, this is the 3rd day. The 2nd day, I didn't get to come out my cell. The 3rd day, when I come out my cell, he does this. So he comes over, and all the sergeants come over and they ask me what happened. So they get the one Captain Brown, I believe her name was. She gives me a BP8. So you can write a grievance. So she goes, write this grievance. I wrote the grievance. She goes, yeah, because he don't run shit over here. He don't run a motherfucking thing in this unit. And he's stepping out of bounds, calling up here on his day off, harassing him. So she did that for me. All the staff was on my side against this dude because I put the business out. I said, yeah, he was talking shit about Sergeant Robinson, saying this, and this. He was talking shit about Quincy Booth. He was talking, and I told him everything. Only way that I would know these things is if this man told me. So it proved that I wasn't lying. And I said, I don't cause no problems in here. I do what I got to do. I'm respectful to everybody. But this dude, he's bringing out a side of me that I don't want to happen. I ain't trying to catch no extra charge for hitting no staff. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, no, don't worry about it. We're going to handle it. So then that happens. And then everybody starts calling up to DC for me because I told them what was going on. So again, they're getting all these phone calls. So then I get called down by J.E. Williams with Internal Affairs on June 6th of 2021. I remember the date because I'm going to sue the shit out of him. So he calls me down and I tell him, this is what happened. So, before that, matter of fact, 3 officers come to my cell at nighttime. They open my door and I'm like, what the fuck? I jump up. I'm like, yo, what's going on? And these are 3 officers that I'm cool with. You know what I'm saying? And they come in, they're like, yo, you good? Because I was telling people, remember I put out the message like, yo, I'm fearful for my life up in this place right now because the staff member has me locked in my cell. I've been locked in for 24 hours. He's been making threats to me, and I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And they had already done beat somebody else. They beat Ryan Sampson, fucked his eye up, So this happened. So they come to my cell and I'm like, yo, what's going on, man? I'm like, what's good? They said, nah, you good, bro. We just here to make sure you good. You straight? And they got the camera. I said, yeah, I'm cool. What's going on? They say, well, we got hearing that you saying you fear for your life. I say, yeah, I'm a little worried about the staff. I ain't worried about no inmates, just in case y'all trying to put me in a hole thinking I'm trying to check in. That ain't what's going on. I'm worried about staff, not inmates. The inmates is cool. They're my brothers. It's the staff that I'm worried about. And they got the camera on, so they got to record it. So that goes, and then I get called to internal affairs. So when I talked to internal affairs, I feel they was trying to set me up to put me in the hole. Because if you're fearful for your life amongst the population of the inmates, they put you in the hole for your safety. Now I'm like, no, this ain't that. I'm good with my brothers. These are all my guys. These are all my brothers. I got no worry about none of them. I'm worried about your staff. So when I said that, he took the report down and made notation of it. And then after that, Corporal Hayes was never allowed back in C2B again. And then every time he see me in the hallway, he would put his head down, wouldn't even look at me. I'd smile at his ass when he would walk by and he'd just put his head down. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. That was just one instance. You know what I'm saying? But there was a lot of other situations in there, man, beyond me that was happening with the other inmates. You know what I'm saying? It was bad, bro. It was some times.
So I want you to answer one of the trolls' comments because I think it's important to talk about. And you and I talked about this. First off, we have a couple things we're going to cover before we end the show today. Treatment is never good in prison. That's why I call it prison. I agree. And Kash and I had this very similar conversation. But first off, this is jail. This isn't prison, and this is where they were this was a holding place for a long period of time.
Detainees. That is the law. If you know the law, it doesn't matter if it's prison. You have rights. As a pretrial detainee, you are not convicted. You are not supposed to be locked down. Barack Obama passed that into law that it is illegal and it is against your 8th Amendment right, I believe. Cruel and unusual punishment. That's the 8th Amendment, right? Yeah, it's against your 8th Amendment right. Cruel and unusual punishment for somebody to be locked in a cell for more than 22 hours a day. If you're locked in for 22 and a half hours, that is unconstitutional per the law. So if I'm locked up for breaking the law, well, then the laws being enforced should have to go by the law. So yeah, you can say that it's prison and it's never good treatment in prison. I don't care about if it's good treatment or not. Is it by the law? And that's what people you got to get out of that, man. Got to get out of that mindset of saying, oh, well, it's bad everywhere. No, it's not supposed to be, is the point. So how about we fight for what's right? That's my whole thing.
Did it help when the senators came?
Yeah. I mean, we were already getting a little better treatment inside of there at that point. But when they came in, it definitely put a spotlight on them. They calmed down. They
really?
calmed big time.
That's good. So this is one of the things I wanted to make sure we covered on this one was talking about, because I remember we were trying to get Erica, your kids there. We were trying to get something happening, and that's when, and you had not been vaccinated yet. You got you were, because even though DC was requiring it to leave and stuff, you managed to be just afterwards. You were able to not have to get it until they said and you were planning on not getting it. They said if you want your family to come, you had to get the jab, correct?
Yep.
Take us through that, and then actually trying to see Erica and Nova and stuff like that.
Okay, so they were denying us haircuts and visitation due to the COVID vaccination. If we didn't get vaccinated, we couldn't get a haircut. If we didn't get vaccinated, we couldn't see our family. So all of us were like, man, fuck that. We're not getting vaccinated. We'll just deal with it. So at a point, it was just some things going on outside, and I'm like, man, I really want to see my kids. I really want to see my kids. I really want to see my lady. And fuck it. I'm just gonna get it. I'm gonna get it done, and that's gonna be that. So I got the shot. Both shots. The first one, and then a month later I got the other one, the Moderna. And so
how soon after that did you get COVID, by the way?
Right after.
Yeah.
Both times. After I got the first shot, I got COVID. And then right after I took the second shot, I got COVID.
That's not supposed to happen, Kash. That's not supposed to happen.
Mind-boggling. So ridiculous. All right, go ahead.
Everybody was in the unit was telling me I was going to turn into a Democrat. They made so many jokes. It was hilarious. But yeah, anyway, I got the shot, and I tell them, okay, how do I set this up for the visits? So they were like, okay, well, yeah, you just fill out the visiting list or whatever, and they can come and see you. So I go to do that, and then they tell me, oh, your kids can't come. I said, why not? They said they're not 18. I said, y'all told me that I could see my kids. I told you I had a baby. I haven't seen my baby since she was 5 months old, and you told me that if I get this shot that I can see my family. And they were like, "Nah, I don't know who told you that, but that's against policy. No kids can come up here." So it was only Erica, which was great. Don't get me wrong. I still got to see Erica, but they lied to me is my point. And the reason why they lied to me isn't some, oh, we wanted to stick him with the jab so that he could die or nothing. No, really what it was anybody who got the shot, they get paid.
A bonus.
DOC gets bonuses for how many COVID vaccinations they give out. It's an incentive. So they were trying to convince people to get these shots. So yeah, they played me. They played me, man.
It's insane.
That's why I got the shot. I'm
looking at a couple comments from Linda Jensen. I don't know her backstory, but it sounds like her son died in a district jail after only 6 days on a probation violation. I don't know the backstory, but I know a lot of people are praying for you, and sorry that happened.
I tell you, man, inside of there, and I've learned this. Inside of there, and this is something that I'm pushing. I'm pushing for cameras for all institutions where they house people.
That was what I was going to talk about next. Yeah.
Yes, because there's been instances, just what you've heard about from me, and then ones that I haven't told you about. You know, when they run down on you, and then they get to beating your ass, and all they got to say is that you tried to assault them, and then they get away with it. There's times where if they don't like somebody, they'll go in and plant a knife or some drugs in your cell, and then all of a sudden you're in the shoe, and you don't know why. And it's like, I don't do drugs, I don't sell drugs, I don't need a knife. How did that get in my cell? Oh, you must have put it there because ain't nobody else going to do it. My officer is not going to do it, when they know damn well that their officer did it. And it goes all the way up. It's not like it's just regular officers. No, this goes up to lieutenants. This goes up to captains. It all the way up. If you got shit staff, things are going to happen. And the way that you can hold them accountable for that is having them wear cameras. If the police on the streets got to wear cameras and everybody pushes for it, how come these people don't got to wear it? And these people they're not like the cops in the world. A lot of these dudes is real life piece of shit, real life racists, real life bigots. You know what I'm saying? It gets bad, bro. I got called a MAGA maggot by one of the staffs just because he seen some of my videos and was like, yo, I know what you are. You're one of them fucking insurrectionists, MAGA maggots. And me being me, at that point, I'm already getting used to being in prison, and I called him a fat bitch. You know what I'm saying? And I shouldn't have said it. Don't get me wrong. I shouldn't have said it. I'm saying, yeah, I'm a MAGA maggot. You're a fat bitch. What are we going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? He goes, yeah, I remember that. I'll be that. I got you. So the whole time I'm like, all right, now I got to worry about this guy. So don't think that it was all rainbows and sunshine going through there. I was doing my best to stay positive, but you have to harden yourself up in places like this. When you're going through places that I walk through, sometimes you gotta be a certain way because people will take advantage of your niceness. They will take advantage of the good nature that you try to put out there. So yeah, I mean, it gets crazy, man. But they do need to wear body cams for instances like that, because had he wore a body camera, I would have never called him out his name, and he would have never called me out mine. It would have been accountability.
Yeah, so that's one of the things you've talked about, that you're gonna once you get settled out of the halfway house, you're gonna work on prison reform in terms of the need. I mean, one of the biggest changes you and I talked about and have talked about is the need for body cams to be on at all times for all interactions, because it's almost like once you go inside the jail and the prison, you're in the wild, wild west at that point, and there's nothing there. It's a total he said, she said. So the last two things I want to talk about, then we'll move the next episode to the end of this whole thing, but you first wanted to make sure, and you've already kind of touched on it, most of those guys in there have this picture painted that they are white supremacists, and we really wanted to be clear that most, not all, but most of the people in there are really good dudes. Oh, yeah. Last thing, people keep talking about your jab in there, and somebody said, so I have the thing scrolling at the bottom, thedrartistshow.com, BFD at checkout for 10% off. They do have and we'll get you that when you get home, Cash, to the spike protein cleanse and all that stuff. So that'll be the way to get that out. But anyway, so back to the thing. Most of the people in the jail, and I want to make sure I want people also to understand, the last question will be the difference between jail and prison in terms of the fact that you couldn't do any shorten your time. But first, talk about the actual character of most of the men in there.
Most of the men in there, just regular dudes, man. They believed the same thing that I believed. They had families. They were fathers. They were husbands. They were brothers. They were sons. They were in a bad situation, you know. They looked out for people. They shared as much as I did. We had a table dedicated to extra commissary that we couldn't even fit in ourselves. So we just put it on this table inside the TV room and let it be there for anybody, whoever it was. If you didn't have something, you could go right in that room and you could grab it. And that was everybody. That wasn't just, Cash. That was literally every inmate in there that had excess. We donated and gave it out. There were guys in there that missed their families. There were guys in there that were just doing their best to maintain. Robert Morrison. I forget how to say it, but I think it's Robert Morris. Rob, he came up with this idea. When we were all in there and had low morale, we were trying to make it through. We did this thing called the Hopium Den. All right. It was our version of Saturday Night Live. And we would come up with skits. I kid you, this is in jail, y'all. This is unheard of. The COs started coming in to watch it when we would do Saturday Night Hopium Den. The COs from other units in the jail came over to watch our skits. All right. So we would do this whole thing that lasted about maybe 45 minutes. And we would do skits and just laugh. And everybody would get involved. Scott Fairlamb did a funny one. You know what I'm saying? Machine Gun Bobby, that was my guy too. He was funny as hell. Rob did one. I did one. Jake did one. Tim. Oh my God, Tim. Tim was the guy. I don't know if you guys know about Tim, right? Timothy Hale. He was the dude that they put his picture up all over the news that he was dressed up like Hitler. And he had the Hitler mustache. Did you guys see that guy?
I don't think
he wasn't
so.
dressed like that there at January 6th, but he had a headshot of him dressed like that. Okay. They tried to paint this dude out to be a Nazi white supremacist. When in actuality, he's a comedian. And that was a headshot of him being funny, being Hitler. I thought he was a racist when I first met him.
And NBC News, Nazi sympathizer and Army reservist who stormed the Capitol sentenced to 4 years in January 6th case. That's how he's referred to.
Now check this out. I thought when I first met him, because of that, I'm like, yo, this dude's out of control. He's a racist and he don't like me and we're not gonna get along, right? Ended up being somebody that I talked with and that I could have intellectual conversations with. We got tight. Like, that's my bro. You feel me? And I'm like, I asked him flat out just to break the ice. I say, man, look, bro, are you racist? He goes, no, Cash, I'm not a racist. I say, so you don't hate me because the way I look? He goes, no, if anything, if I was going to hate you, it'd be because of your ego. You know what I'm saying? He goes, that's how I look at people, And I was like, okay, I can accept that. He goes, in actuality, I really like you. I like having conversations with you, and your skin doesn't play a part in anything.
Uh-oh, did he freeze?
He talks like skits, and we just got tight. There's a lot of dudes in there like that. They said that Kenny was racist, white supremacist, right? But what they don't tell you is that the people that were there with them that are also Oath Keepers are two black guys. Brothers, you feel me? But they didn't arrest them, even though they were there with them doing the exact same. And it's to paint the picture of a narrative. Jess is a transgender person that was locked up inside DC DOC with us, who was an Oath Keeper. Now, serve my memory, right? And tell me, do white supremacists agree with transgenderism? No. It would never happen. And I can tell you that from the system. It would never happen. You're not going to be a white supremacist and be okay with somebody being transgender. So how the hell is Jess in the Oath Keepers if it's a white supremacist organization? It's a fallacy, bro. It's false. It's not real. It's a fake narrative. And they did this with everybody. Everybody. They tried to say my man Scott Fairlamb was a white supremacist because he loves America. And he was one of the closest brothers to me in there. They tried to say it about Ryan Nichols, one of the closest brothers in there to me. They said it about Shane Jenkins because Shane Jenkins went through the prison system in Texas and he had to join a group. But that's not who he is. He's a minister. That man was preaching the gospel up in there, and I'm talking about me and him would sit and crack up. He was another one that's like really close to me. It makes zero sense. They say the same thing about Jake Lang. Jake Lang is Jewish. He's Jewish. How is he a white supremacist? It don't make no sense. It got crazy, man. There's a lot of things that they say about people, man. If you pay attention, you'll understand that it's not true. You'll go on Kelly Meg's Facebook and see him with his grandbabies and all these different people, different ethnicities. It's ridiculous. Kenny Harrelson, he might as well be a brother the way he carries himself. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
So I want to address this comment because none of those that were arrested were Antifa or Black Lives Matter. This is the troll, but I think it's an interesting point. Here's the deal. Nobody was arrested. Was anybody actually arrested on January 6th?
Oh, yeah.
It was under 100. It was very few. Most of the people that you were in jail with were arrested or turned themselves in after the fact, correct?
I could kill this whole thing right now. John Sullivan.
I was just going to say that. There's one name that will squash that entire narrative.
That'll end it all. John Sullivan. But then to show you how the narrative goes, what'd they do with John Sullivan?
Immediately released.
Let him go, and then paid him $75,000 for the video of Ashley Babbitt. Rest in peace to Ashley Babbitt being shot. So, I mean, come on, man. There's a bunch of brothers that you can go on YouTube and look it up of all the brothers that was there that day that was making videos. You're right. A lot of people didn't get arrested, but the ones that did got let go. Before I got there was a brother that was arrested that they let go.
And ultimately, a lot of the arrests, including me being questioned, I didn't get arrested, being questioned by the FBI. This all happened weeks to months. And by the way, still happening well after the fact. The group that was the A word, that was whatever the alternative side. And if you watch the other episodes, you'll know that Kash and I both talk about the fact there was bad right-wingers there as well, or right-wing Antifa is what Kash calls them. So there is bad on our side, but there was a lot of the agitators from the left that were never arrested after the fact.
100%.
Period. Full stop. And that's why you're like, well, there was nobody arrested. Yeah, there was nobody arrested. That should actually tell you something from people that were there that saw it with their own eyes. Last question. Go ahead. Yeah, Jackie and I both had her brother and I had the same experience. Go ahead.
But check it out. Here's the thing. Does it matter? Why does that matter? That shouldn't matter at all about what color somebody was that got arrested. If anything, it should help you see the political climate and understand the narrative that's trying to be pushed and the wool that they're trying to pull over your eyes. Because there was a lot of different ethnicities there that day. A lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
if
you want to choose to look at it like that, then I can't help you. But it's just, it's easy to see once you really open your eyes. That's all I'm saying.
I knew this would be a longer episode, but let's just really quick wrap it up with, the fact that you didn't have a speedy trial. You weren't able to actually get into, you were there for 2 years. So what is the difference between a jail and a prison? And why was it bad that you ended up getting sentenced to 1 month, 2 months, technically 1 month concurrent, but had to serve 2 years in a jail instead of a federal prison?
You get more freedoms in a prison, and you're allowed to program to help you get time cuts. When you're in a jail, you're doing day for day. You're doing day for day. When you're in prison, you get time cuts based off of the programming that you do. So they held me there on purpose, and I told y'all they was going to do this. Remember what I was telling you? I said, man, they're going to try to keep me here. Only thing they're doing is trying to delay me being able to do my program so I could get out earlier due to the First Step Act. And when I got to the prison, it went all the way up higher than them, because the people that were doing my release date in Grand Prairie, they put me down as ineligible. Okay, they marked me as ineligible for any time cuts past the 15% that you would get for doing your 85%. And then when they finally got fixed, I had already served out damn near my whole sentence and had a halfway house date. This is why I don't have to stay in the halfway house. They took it off of the halfway house date. They made sure that I did as much time in the prison system as possible.
Jeez. And I forgot one thing that we should talk about at the very end. The national anthem. The thing that, then that was at the goal. Well, that'll be how we end. Explain everything. That is how we end. Version number 3. We'll probably do one more of these. The What the Heck Happened to Kash show. How did the national anthem start? And I think that's still going too.
Well, one day I was out cleaning and I could sing. So I started singing the national anthem. And then when we all started getting out of our cells, I forget who it was to set up the phone calls for the people that were outside. And we just had the idea because we all loved the national anthem. We all came together around the phone. One day, I forget who facilitated it, but we all got around the phone and we started singing the national anthem. And then it just became a tradition that every day at 9 o'clock, we're going to sing this national. Oh, because we get locked in. When we would get locked in at 9, like we're gonna sing the national anthem. So before, matter of fact, prior to that phone call, we would do it in behind our cell doors. Yeah, we were singing the national anthem at 9 o'clock before the public ever even knew about it, behind our doors. And we would beat on the doors, when and the rockets red glare, bombs bursting in there, and we would just beat on the doors to make the sound. So every day we were doing that until somebody, when we finally got out, facilitated it for us to do it on the phone with everybody. But yeah, it just started. It just is something that just caught on, just singing the national anthem at 9 o'clock. I forget who it was that started it, though, that said, hey, every day at 9, let's sing the national anthem. I can't remember who it was, but we all was down with it. We all was down with it, man.
Is it
was
still
pretty
going
cool.
today?
Oh, yeah. They're still doing it every day.
Cool. All right, we went. Today was a full hour, so go ahead and we'll figure out a time when we're going to do the final version. We'll of course have our Truth Will Set You Free back on Tuesday as long as you can make it. We'll check your schedule, we'll figure it out, see if we're keep the time at 6 or shift it. Really quick, all the different things. Let me go ahead and put on the bottom. We love the super chat from you, Steph. If anybody else wants to give, super chats are great, but we would, of course, rather you go to the Help Cash page. Larry Cox, I know you'll be there. I know you're going to go to the page and Help Cash, helpcash.com. And then what else? And then the gear. I think we finally lost Cash. If you like to check out the merch, go ahead and go to awakenotwokestore.com. Use Cash to get 20% off. His actual welcome back shirts are not a discount, but that's it. All right, Cash, take us home. Final words on part number 3.
Well, I just want to say I appreciate all of you guys, especially all y'all that's been helping me get my numbers back, man. I've been noticing it's been growing. You guys have been sharing the videos. That always helps. I appreciate it. We're trying to break the algorithm. So if you could go onto my page, Cash Kelly on Facebook or on Instagram, I think Casey got it linked up. Yeah, just share the videos out for me and tell people to come and follow. I'll be trying to just give my motivation. And once I get home, things is really going to take off because I can really do my part a lot more as far as speaking out about January 6th and the treatment of the people that are over there and helping their families, because that's what's important for me. What's important for me is to help all the families that are affected due to their parents being incarcerated due to January 6th. But also, further than that, I like to help out people that are in prison, period. I think that's something that's near and dear to me right now. So be expecting that once I'm out of this place and I'm able to be back in front of my computer screen and hopefully have a setup like Casey and Anthony Russo over here, But beyond that, thank you guys for all the support, for going to helpcash.com and helping me get back on my feet. It is greatly appreciated. Man, I love you guys, and I'm here. I'm here, man. I'm getting back to it.
And even with the helpcash.com, if you go there and you're not giving anything, that's fine. There's also, that'll give you how to get to all of his different pages to follow everything that he has got going on with all of the different stuff. And Cash is now a couple of days, he's been doing a follow-up to my morning daily truth, which are really fun. So his spin on Cash, look at yesterday's. You'll like that one. I think you'll be able to do a good response to that. So a lot of positivity stuff. Of course, the politics on Tuesday, once in a while. Throughout his Instagram as well. You got to, of course, stay fresh with all the different things going on. Him and I are actually going to have a discussion about Israel and Palestine once we get done with this call. Casey, did we forget anything?
No, sir. I think we're good.
Excellent. Cash, you know what to do.
I forgot how it goes. I'm kidding. Unite. Don't fight. Be a street light, because only you can be the change that you wish to see in the world. And when you get too stressed out, gotta remember to pray, America, because without God, everything falls apart.
Woo!
Yeah, brother.
We need to think of something for Casey. He's got to have some kind of thing to it. I don't know what it is.
This
but
should be like Super Mario. Woohoo!
Oh.